Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The nation's report card is out, and it is not going on the refrigerator anytime soon. It shows reading and math scores have reached a new low among high school seniors, falling 3 points in 2024 compared to 5 years before that. Eighth grader science scores also dropped 4 points during that time. Those tests were conducted from January through March of 2024. U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon now calling the numbers a devastating trend.
Despite billions in federal spending and countless well-intentioned programs, the achievement gap between students is widening, not shrinking. And this trend did not begin with COVID. It goes back a decade. Clearly, success isn't about how much money we spend, but who spends it.
The Clark County School District now looking to put the results in context. We received a statement just moments ago that reads in part, districts around the country saw steep declines in test scores during and immediately after the pandemic. CCSD is proud of the progress we are making in catching up to pre-pandemic scores on our state assessments. This brings us to the ongoing debate, are schools being properly funded? Good evening. I'm Marie Morterra.
And I'm Dana Wagner. So this is a nationwide discussion that's also sparking concern right here at home in the Clark County School District. Crisis in the Classroom investigative reporter Tiffany Lane joins us live tonight to break down the latest numbers. Tiffany?
Dana and Marie, we know that school funding is something that there'll never be a full agreement on, but statistically speaking, Nevada does rank below the national average when it comes to per pupil funding. Now that's funding, especially it's the amount of money that a school receives for every student that's enrolled on that campus.
Nevada receives just over $13,000 funding per student. That's in comparison to the national average of around $17,000, a $4,000 difference.
Per pupil funding primarily goes towards things like staffing. That's typically, so you're thinking your educators, your support professionals, people in the classroom that are interacting with students. That's about 80 to 85% of funding. The rest of funding can go to things like, other parts of supports for the school, curriculum, supplies, administrators and things like that.
Amanda Morgan with Educate Nevada Now says the funding disparity has impacted things like class sizes and mainly student achievement. On the contrary, on Tuesday, U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon commented that funding does not correlate to results. This was after the release of the nation's report card that showed a downward trend in scores compared to pre-pandemic years.
Clearly, success isn't about how much money we spend, but who spends it?
Anahit Bakhshetsin from Nevada Policy, a local think tank, made a similar argument using the Clark County School District as an example.
We do not feel like CCSD needs more funds. What CCSD does need, though, is smarter and more strategic spending habits.
She argues that more money does not equal better educational outcomes.
Instead of referring to asking for more taxpayer funds and more numbers, maybe we should reflect on what we already have and where it's going and why the money that's being used is being dysfunctional.
Using results by the National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP, Morgan said she believes funding matters.
In your mind, funding does translate to academics and proficiency.
For example, things like access to high-speed internet, which was very significant during the pandemic, access to a laptop, computer, or tablet, very significant during the pandemic, or access to a teacher on a daily basis. There was a huge gap for students that are in the lowest performing group in NAEP and the highest performing.
Now, the Commission on School Funding says in order to start closing that gap when it comes to per pupil funding, there would need to be an investment of $250 million additional each year up to a process of 10 years. Now, that would essentially add $2.6 billion on top of the existing state education fund. So again, that's what they're saying over 10 years. We'll be able to close that gap with what we're seeing the differences are between Nevada and the national ranking, and that's where they believe is where the resources are needed. But again, this is something we'll follow up on over the next few days as well, digging into more of these stats that are becoming available. For now, reporting live from near downtown Las Vegas, I'm Tiffany Lane for News 3. Back to you.